A very good morning to one and all. Department of Anatomy welcomes you for the very first CME in SLMCH. It's a very lovely moment for each and every one of us in the department. We just decided to go green color for our CME, dress code on green. The first date, nature lashed out on us with heavy rains. Again, we got a second date. Again, it's pouring cats and dogs outside. But still, we decided to not, flinch a little bit on the rain. Let's just enjoy the day. So whatever happens. So we'll start off our colloquium today with a panel discussion. For that, we would like to call upon our panelists onto the stage. We call first Dr. R. Vasuki, ma'am, Professor of General Surgery, SLMCH, to please come over to the stage, ma'am. Good morning and welcome, ma'am. Calling Dr. S. Pavitra, ma'am, Vice Principal, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology. Welcome, ma'am. And we have Dr. S. Preeti, Associate Professor, Department of Community Medicine, who will be moderating the session along with everyone. We would also like to have our special guest of the day, Pratibha ma'am, onto the stage, please. Both Pratibha ma'ams, both of them are Pratibha ma'ams. Pratibha Shivashankari ma'am, Professor, Department of Anatomy, and Dr. K. Muthu Pradeepa, Professor, Department of Physiology, two absolutely phenomenal features as teachers who have joined us today for this colloquium. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Preeti, ma'am.
Yes, welcome everyone to today's session. Asking the right question, a trajectory in the life of a medico, from sage on the stage to the guru on the side. A shift in teaching methods has transformed the roles of educators and learners alike. Today, we have the privilege of hosting a distinguished faculty members, two gurus from outside SLMCH and two gurus from SLMCH to be your side. And there will be an audio clipping of our SLMCH students to share their insights on this evolution. So let's embark on the session that bridges experience, innovation, and future of learning, sage on the stage to the guru on the side. So my first question to Professor Dr. Vasuki ma'am from Department of Surgery, SLMCH. Dr. Vasuki ma'am, as an experienced senior faculty who have guided countless students, but with experience also comes certain expectations and perceptions. As a senior faculty, has your experience and expertise helped you or inhibited you from receiving an honest feedback?
Good morning, Manana. Good morning, students. That's a good response. Good morning, all senior faculties and my colleagues on the dais and off the dais. I'm really privileged to be one among the faculty here. Actually, I started my career post-graduation. After my PG, 1 year as a tutor, I worked in anatomy. I don't know. That was the reason I'm also included in this session. I thank Dr. Vasant and Dr. Johnson, sir, for including me. I used to love anatomy as an undergraduate. We were given Cunningham's in my hand. We have to read from Cunningham, and we used to do the dissections. And we had so many bodies, cadavers. So we enjoyed doing dissection. At that stage, we always had our guru by the side. You understand? All of you can follow me? So guru by the side started when we started our career itself. Then that alone is not enough. We need some amount of theory also to be taught. That was during our lecture classes. That will be guru on the stage. So both are needed for our profession. So you must understand what I mean by that. For a medical student, you need guru by side and also on the stage. Both is needed. Both you must utilize for you to become a best medico. Understand? So, for the question, I served in government service until 2019, almost 30 years of my service. For until I retired, we didn't have the culture of getting feedback from the students. So I don't have any written evidence to say that I had feedback from the students. But by the gesture, by certain other ways, I realized that they had some positive feedback towards me. Like whenever you go, if the student is meeting you eye to eye, giving you a smile, greeting you, I take it as a positive feedback. All of you agree with me? Nowadays we see very few students greeting the professors. We are not compelling you to do that. It is up to you to decide what to do or not. But for me, that was one of the type of feedback. You understand? Then we worked as a professor when we got promoted. I went to Tirunelveli, Vellore, and then I came back to Chennai, KGH, and I retired from my alumni, Kilpauk Medical College. When I worked in Tirunelveli, just was only 1 year, the PG, when I left Tirunelveli, he said, why do you want to go to Chennai? I said, my son is there. He's telling, madam, we are also your children. You must think about us. As PGs, we want you here. So that is also a positive feedback. Whatever teaching you did, or as a surgeon, we are always by the side teaching them, catching the hands and teaching them. See, when we learned surgeon as a lady surgeon, I had a very hard way to learn surgery. I was only lady surgeon in Stanley Medical College when I entered my department. But I learned it in a very hard way. But thanks to the male colleagues with me, they treated me in such a way, I felt so comfortable, and only from the male colleagues I learned my surgery. After, when I got stabilized, then I was confident enough to teach the youngsters. So, as a surgeon, teaching as a guru by the side was absolutely necessary. So, it is more important than on the stage. As a surgeon, you must teach them the technique. It is always available in the operative surgery. But each surgeon has got their own technique of doing the surgeon. I learned so many techniques from all my seniors. So cumulatively, you have your own technique, and it's a privilege to teach our postgraduate teaching guru by the side. You understand? So when I left Tirunelveli, I came to Vellore. There, we didn't have PG. We had to do so much of field work. By the time when I worked as 1 year of HOD there, we got 2 PGs. Then when I had to leave there also children were not ready to leave me. They said, we are so much inspired about you. See, we like the way you walk, we like the way you teach, these are the feedbacks I got. So, according to me, I don't have a written evidence or anything written to show you, but by the behavior of my students, my PGs, till date all my PG are in connection with me. Anything they want to take a super specialty, they always consult me. Which college to take? Shall I go to Stanley or to MMC? See, these are the positive feedbacks they give you, make you feel, you can't call it proud, you are happy that you are honored by your juniors. This is the feedback which I experienced. The other type of feedback is, as a professor or a junior faculty, we always teach the students. We know the student individually. In Kilpauk Medical College, we were only 100. Every professor knows you by your name. Even now it's become a huge 150, 250 and all. It's hard to remember your name. But few of them we know. And your performance also we know. Every posting when you finish and go, at the end of the posting, we update the students. See what you lack in, what is expected of you, how should you improve your reading methodology or clinical examination methodology. This is the feedback we give the students. So, the expertise or experience, whatever I gained through my seniors, I thank them always, my professors and my colleagues, and I learned so much from my PGs. As a SR, junior most faculty in Stanley Medical College, so much of new theory my PGs only taught me. I'm really happy. They helped me so much to learn, gain more knowledge. So when they ask some question, you have to go home and read. You have to update yourself. So they were always my inspiration to update me. I thank all my postgraduates, my colleagues and my professors for what I am today. Thank you.
That was a beautiful explanation from our Vasuki ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now, moving to Dr. Pavitra, a vibrant vice principal, associate professor from Department of Pharmacology. Dr. Pavitra, as an administrator, how far you are able to accept changes? These days, there are frequent and drastic changes in the curriculum, approaches like competency-based medical education and self-directed learning. How do you overcome the resistance to change and embrace the modifications?
Good morning, dear students, and good morning, my dear senior faculties and fellow colleagues. The question was to me was as an administrator. So I think my experience as an administrator is for like only a few months I've been as an administrator, but not like just Vasuki ma'am. She had a huge experience to talk about. I don't have that much of an experience as an administrator, but from what I have been into as a vice principal of this reputed medical college, I seemingly take this into consideration that CBME curriculum, when it was introduced into the syllabus, it was a very big shot to the faculties as well as the students who are already into the old system, which was quite smooth and flexible. So even the faculties had to face some resistance to adopt to the changes that is being made by the NMC. So when you have to take into consideration that a curriculum which is being completely made, you people, like your students would have been spoon-fed till your 12th standard, correct? Everything would have been taught by the teachers. No one would have been asked to learn by your own. Whereas for this topic today, which was into SDL, meaning SDL, students, self-directed learning. So you need to feed something among yourselves, discuss among your friends, colleagues. If you have really any doubts, we faculties will be there to put an input into that. But it's not that all the topics will be made into STL. We have Guru by the stage, which will be dealt. Whereas Guru on the side, you need to discuss among your friends, everything. You need to have an approach towards certain topics which is made by NMC in all the subjects. So I think it's a very huge step for you children to take into as you enter MBBS. Is it not? You would have thought everything will be dealt by the teachers. We don't have to have a look into our textbooks. We don't have to find meaning for everything, but it is not going to be the same thing when you go into MBBS. Few things has to be learned among yourselves. So the next part was how flexible. Part of the question, no?
The resistance
Yes.
and
Sorry.
change.
So how do you overcome the resistance? As an administrator, I think we need to communicate with the students, parents, as well as the facilitators. In this case, all the faculties had to be imparted by the knowledge of what is what, why it's being needed, why at this point of time something has been changed in the curriculum, what is the necessity of implementing such a kind of a change has to be communicated to the students. You need to know the importance of this change as well as the facilitators. So for that, we might consider doing some faculty development program so that the faculties will be imparted the knowledge of or the usefulness of something, a system as being imparted with. Then I can go with allowing the students to be a part of it. It has to be implemented gradually. Say, for example, if you are going to be pushed upon on something, you will definitely have a resistance. Why I need to do something like this? I might neglect that. That is not going to happen. So any change that has to be imparted slowly, gradually we need to impart the change among you students so that it will be a smooth transition. So I believe that a transition from the old curriculum into the new system has to be very gradual so that you guys, when you enter into postgraduate or when you have your studies for your post-graduation super specialty, all this might help you in your future. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank the Department of Anatomy, Dr. Vasant Kumar sir, Johnson sir, Muthukumar sir for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Pavitra, for sharing your experience in changing in the management and adaptability in the educational system. Now, our next question to both the chief guests, Professor Dr. Muthu Pratibha ma'am and Professor Dr. Pratibha ma'am. To what extent are you, an educator, participating with your students, working among them, rather than standing in front of them or off to the side? And what are the challenges you face in this changing scenario?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Pratibha from SRM Medical College. Can you? What extent is the question? What extent I have been with the students? The question is actually the attention span of the student is 20 to. I will ask the question to the students. What is the attention span for you during the lecture class? 1 hour lecture we used to take. Okay. What is your attention span that? Hardly, yeah, 15 to 20 minutes. We can extend up to 30 minutes, right? Okay, so as a teacher, as a moderator, as a facilitator, what can I do? I have to incorporate many diverse teaching modules. Okay, simply if I do chalk and talk teaching, definitely it will not serve the purpose. So if I want to engage the students, definitely I have to incorporate many other teaching methods like flipped classroom module, role play, and game-based teaching. Nowadays at SRM, we have been doing game-based teaching. Our HOD is there. So we all of us are doing. Okay. So though we are all senior faculty members, we, as Madam said, professional developmental programs are there. So we all get into that programs and we learn different methodologies and then we are incorporating in that and we will be doing all the stuff to encourage and motivate the students to participate in the teaching learning program. It is not a one-way thing, right? So both of us should participate. So we are doing all these methodologies and we incorporate this. Second, the challenge. Few faculty in the department, they are reluctant. Okay, not only in our department, in everywhere, they don't want to incorporate all new technologies. So it is a big drawback. We have to learn everything, and for the sake of the new generation, they know better than us in using the app and all. So, for example, game-based learning, they are more interested. Okay, so if we teach them how to do that, they develop their own study materials. Self-directed learning, madam will be talking about that. So we have to do that. Second challenge is designing the schedule, then assignment correction, everything we are doing. On the top of that, administration work is also done by our faculty members. So these many things, and the NMC is asking us to incorporate competency-based medical education, game-based learning, everything. Apart from that, we are all having our personal life also. So 7 o'clock, I'll be sitting with a laptop and sending questions in Google form and Marrow MCQs and other things. So it is really challenging for a teacher to do everything. But for you, we are all helping. So you should cooperate with us. Thank you.
So good morning. I think Pratibha covered a lot of points, her views. Could you just, read the question once more to
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Actually? Yeah.
To what extent are you, as an educator, participating with your students, working among them, rather than standing in front of them or off to the side? So, what are the challenges you face in this changing scenario?
Right. So as she mentioned, it's a
Okay, so Preeti's mic is the best mic, I guess. Right. So changing scenario is the word here. I think I'm a student of the previous generation, but a teacher for the present and the future generations. So a lot of change in the mindset as a person, I think, is required. But thankfully, I think Pratibha would agree, and whoever is there in anatomy, Hema ma'am here, physiology, all of them would agree that being a teacher of the first year students is a hidden blessing for you to constantly stay updated with the younger generation, and also to stay updated. Whether you want or not, you have to be updated in technology, fashion, whatever they offer to you. So I think changing scenario is the key word here. And as much as it is tempting for me to stand here and give instructions to the students, I also understand that it is much better when I'm amongst them, when I truthfully go back to my days of being a first year student in physiology. And then when I realized how difficult it was for me to read the syllabus, to understand the curriculum, to cope from school to college, to cope from home to hostel, when I looked at all those, when I went back in time, I realized it was difficult for me. It is also difficult for them. So that is one acceptance. The second thing is things are changing, whether I want or not. The challenge is that at times, I always tell my students, I'd like to be friendly with you, but I cannot be friends with you. Okay? Because, the age gap between me and you is really, really large. I can be accepting, understanding, empathetic, and be friendly with you, but I cannot be friends with you. So drawing the boundary and staying on either sides, but at the same time, not making the gap being felt so obvious, I think is the key as a faculty for me to enjoy teaching with my students. So the rest, I think, Pratibha will cover a few points in her talk. And about learning as such, I think I would cover in my talk. Thank you, all of you seniors here, for the great opportunity.
Thank you, Pratibha ma'am, to speak on the balance between the authority and collaboration with students, followed by insights from Dr. Muthu Pratibha ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now we have a question to our esteemed professor, Dr. Johnson sir. So with your vast experience, you have seen the transition between the roles of sage and guru. Do you believe these roles are interchangeable? If yes, effortlessly or tedious is the change?
Thank you, Dr. Preeti. And it's a very interesting panel discussion going on here. And coming to the question you posed to me, I think both the things are not interchangeable as such. They are distinct with clear-cut different focus and how you implement it. A sage considers himself to be on the top. A lot of authoritarian attitude is there. Whereas when you stand by the side of the student as a guide, it means totally a different ball game. You have to have a paka mindset. The two things are totally different, but I think the idealistic thing is the guide by the side. So it is not easily interchangeable, but then we should have the mindset to shed off the sage on the stage role to come to the side of the student. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for discussing the dynamics of changing the teaching roles and adaptability required. Now, next question to Dr. Muthukumar, sir. So the question is, how do you balance offering guidance without taking away their independence? How do you balance offering guidance to students without taking away their independence?
Good morning, all dear faculties and students. question I couldn't able to answer right now. So yes, let's discuss in the lecture class. Right now I couldn't prepare the answer. So it's fog, brain fog now. Pardon me. Thank you.
Dr. Muthu Pratibha ma'am and Pratibha ma'am, can you answer this question?
I think the way see, the question was, how do you give guidance to the student without taking away their independence? I think maybe sir didn't answer it, but he kind of demonstrated it. I'm sure he's given them a lot of independence and very subtly guided them, and he allowed you to be yourselves. It was very obvious in the way you reacted or responded when he came up. So I think he has definitely not stolen away your independence. But I'm sure you cannot be a teacher who is loved without, teaching them effectively and without guiding them effectively. So maybe you didn't answer the question, sir, but you have demonstrated the question today, actually.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, question to Dr. Shruti ma'am. The question is, what do you think is the biggest hindrance between the learners and teachers in establishing a joint learning process?
For some reason, mic just works in your hand, ma'am. I don't know why you have entered into that place. So, what I understood from my 9 years of experience is that first, there was a phase when I thought that it's generation gap, that we need to go down, mingle with them, and try to understand their genre, try to get to know them and then teach. I understood that doesn't work. Then I tried 1 year of dictatorship, where I stood on top of their head and whipped them. It didn't work. And then I tried blended, being unpredictable. I would just blast off from nowhere and then be extremely friendly from nowhere. It really didn't work. Then I understood that that was the generation gap. Actually, that's happening because I'm dealing with, I have the opportunity to handle a smaller batch of students who are as resistant as these young adults. So the forthcoming genre is so that they are resistant by nature. But they are blessed that they have so many aids that helps them to learn, which we, as I think all of us sitting here in the front of you, we didn't have that. We were located, all our colleges were located in one remote place. It will be surrounded by basically a jungle. We would have to travel several kilometers to find the first sort of entertainment. We didn't have a mobile phone in hand which gave us 24/7 entertainment per se. So we were restricted at the first phase. That helps us to, direct our mind and our thought to just studies. But your array of distractions is so much, it is there for every single millisecond. So it is so difficult for you, way more difficult for you to learn than what we were able to learn is what I believe. And one more thing that we try to practice in art classes is that we tell the students, I can show you the structure. I can tell you how it works. I can tell you where it is located. But it is your job to see through your eyes, which most often we don't understand they are not able to do because they're probably staring at the same stuff in front of them, but they are literally daydreaming, thinking about some classy song they saw last night. So that is something I've come across, but to get them into that, you need to see, you need to feel, you need to know is kind of difficult on the side of the teachers. Still, I think a lot of us who break that barrier and make you people study. So learning happens, we can give you the stuff. We can show you where, how, when and why. But learning happens from your end. You need to see, you need to think, you need to put it forward into practice. Unless and until then, you are not going to find any We cannot make you write your answer exams, right? We cannot come sit next to you and answer your vivas. So it's you alone in the entire world, no matter what distractions, no matter how many friends you are, you're absolutely alone when it comes to studying. Absolutely alone with your exams. You will be alone in the OT when you are putting your hand into a patient and doing a surgery. You're going to be alone in an OP when you're going to treat your patient. So it comes from your end. You need to take the spark. You need to take the leap. You need to do it in the most effective way. Then there will be a connection. There should be a connection between both ends. And then we need to tie the knots and make the relationship stronger. Then the teaching happens more successfully and smoothly is what I totally believe it's happening now. Slowly, last 2 years, I can see a small change. I am moderating myself with these people. They are also moderating to me. So it happens with self-development from the faculty side and also an adaptation from the children's side too. Thank you, ma'am.
The beautiful explanation. Now the last question is, how much is too much? Independence, a teacher's perspective, and interference, a learner's perspective. So I will answer this. So from teacher's perspective, too much independence can make a student feel isolated. So we need to foster the independence at the right time. We need to ensure, we need to check whether the student is going in the right direction. But too much interference, what happens? The student's capability and the self-thinking, so there is a constant validation the students depends on. So students is depending on a constant validation. So that will probably lead to hamper the critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. So the teacher need to know where exactly we need to step in and step out and make the student explore and adapt the knowledge changing process. So this is all about the panel here, and now we are going to watch an audio clipping where our SLMCS students will be asked questions, and so let's stay back and enjoy the audio clipping.
I would like to welcome you all for the panel discussion, which is based on today's program. So the topic for the panel discussion is asking right questions, a trajectory in the life of a medico. So here we have the distinguished experts with us to raise our questions to our scholars. We'll kickstart our program with Dr. Vaijayanti Mala ma'am to ask questions to Dr. Deepthi.
Yes, hi Deepthi. Yes, describe your learning experiences from book or PDF.
I have mostly preferred books over PDF because I feel it is more focusing and it is less distracting. I feel more engaged towards books than PDF because it will tempt us. PDFs will mostly tempt us to use other tabs or use other applications. So I prefer books over PDF. But both have their own pros and cons.
Will reading digital format and integrated learning?
As I have mentioned earlier, we increase our knowledge like solving quizzes and all. So teachers also aid using the same materials. They will supply the supplementary materials surfing through the online contents and provide us with needed articles. And also they give the ideas for visualizing and understanding topics like 3D anatomy apps. Thank you.
So here is our mentor, Dr. Muthukumar sir, for questioning the scholar Janisha.
Hello Janisha, how do you do? I want to discuss with you regarding self-directed learning. First thing I want to ask you about is, how confident are you about learning on your own?
Confident learner, I know my strength and weakness, in which part I can improve myself while learning myself. And I know my strengths so that I can take advantage of the things and take self notes, like improve myself. Even if I do some mistakes, I can rectify them, and I will get like creative ideas to do new things and develop my skills in that field. I like when I lack something, I can develop it.
So I'm confident as a self-learner because I am capable of taking my own notes and studying about them and revising them and referring to them. Even if I have to refer, I have my teachers to refer. So I'm confident on self-learning, sir.
Okay. In continuation to that, the next thing I want to ask you is, which place would be ideal for self-directed learning? Either the college, hostel, home, like that. Which place do you feel is ideal for you?
As I'm a hostler, sir, I'm more comfortable in home while studying because it gives a private environment to study and no disturbance or distractions. Like there are some our parents will support us, and we can rely on them for support, but not the same in the hostel. We have our peer groups and friends with us, and not everyone wants to study in the same time, and we have to share our rooms, and they have to sleep at a time, and we have to adjust with the timings for them.
Home is ideal place for you
To study. And library is not a best place for study, it's a best place for reference. Even though library is the best place for reference, we have smartphones in our hands nowadays. We can refer them in smartphones, and PDFs are available for any book. So that home is anyway a best place to learn and refer.
So you prefer self-directed learning and also the best place for that?
Home.
Thank you, Jason.
Here is our facilitator, Dr. Ramamurthy sir, to ask queries to the med student, Dr. Harvisha.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this session. I'd like to ask you some few questions. What do you think about early clinical exposure?
So basically early clinical exposure is a newer concept. It's actually a pretty good concept where phase 1 students get a chance to get exposed to clinical settings. This will help them to retain their theoretical knowledge. It will bridge the gap between their theoretical textbook knowledge and practical learning. In this program, they'll get to interact with the patients. They'll get an opportunity to observe how the doctors deal their cases. This will help them to build their practical knowledge. For example, it's like if you want to learn to cook, instead of just reading recipe books and watching cooking shows, you directly enter into the kitchen, chop, toss and cook. That's the essence of early clinical exposure.
Is it exposure or imposed burden for phase 1 students?
It depends upon the student's perspective. Some feel that it is a burden because it may be distracting from their basic knowledge, but in my perspective, I think it is worth it because, as I already told, it bridges the textbook and the practical knowledge. It gives more motivation to the students. It will reinforce their choice of getting into medical school, especially for those who have been pushed into medical school because of their parents' compulsion. This will turn their reluctance into their genuine interest, and it will give a real life application based learning which will help them to retain their knowledge. And the networking part, we get to know the healthcare professional more, which will be a door opener for our future.
Who do you think is more helpful in answering clinical based ignorant questions? The sage on the stage or guru by the side?
First, I wanted to highlight the difference between sage on stage and guru by the side approach. Sage on stage is a traditional approach where the teacher is often a lecturer standing in front of the student, and the main intention is to deliver the context rather than interacting with the students. But in the guru by the side approach, there is more interaction which will help them to retain more knowledge and to have a deeper insight. So I think guru by the side approach is more helpful to answer clinical ignorant questions because they'll improve their critical thinking. The teacher will ask probing questions which will develop their knowledge, and sage on stage is a good approach.
So thank you very much for attending. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
So here is our educator, Dr. Shruti ma'am, to have an interrogative session to Dr. Aditya Siddharth.
Hi Aditya. So the question for you is, after school, entering into college, what was it for you
to go through the process of changing. How you adapted to the changes in how you learned in school, and how did you adapt to the changes that you faced in college? That is the entire culture of teaching learning process. Your perspective, please.
Yes, ma'am. So, the first very big change I felt after coming inside the college is the change from teachers to facilitators in college, ma'am. Because in school it was more of spoon feeding, where we got the raw data and we just had to assimilate it. There was no digging in more deep. But in college, we had to dig in more deep. We have to refer to more books and more sources to have a complete picture of whatever we are learning. So this made understanding better, and also we had a better retention studying it that way, ma'am. And the other big change I felt was the different types of teaching. Some classes are taken as lectures, we have small group discussions, we have practical sessions. So with different types of teaching and what the topic requires, so it is more easy to understand the topics that way rather than having a normal teaching for all the topics. And then in school it was more faculty centric, and here we have a student centric model, which is better because we can form our own understanding methods and our own studying methods which will work for us. Whereas in school we had to follow what the teachers' methods were, and it wasn't always okay with us, and it wasn't really successful for every one of us. So this makes it better here, where we can have our own study pattern and which will end up in better results. One thing I would say which I felt difficult after coming to college was the amount of involvement required, where we had to put in work. In school it was much lesser than it is needed in college, because in school everything was spoon-fed, including the information which is needed to us. If we have an exam, we have the handbooks written and everything was like that. But in college, we have to be shrewd enough to go look at the notice boards, to look at the information bulletin, to know what is happening. And then we have to put in more work so that we get the required results. So the involvement factor was a bit difficult in the start, but as the months went, we were fine with it and we got adjusted to it. But this more involvement required helped in making us more responsible and more accountable for our actions, which I think is needed for life after college.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
So summing up, scholar Deepthi beautifully explained how the digital formatting aid in integrated learning, and scholar Jerisha Jerin, she explained beautifully how a library is for referencing and not for learning. And Harivasha, she beautifully explained how the early clinical exposure helps students in getting more interest in medical education. And to scholar Aditya, he also beautifully explained the adaptability in learning in college after schooling. So concluding, I want to say that the sage on the stage to the guru by the side. So it clearly explains the guru by the side wins than the sage on the stage. So today's discussion has provided valuable insights into evolving roles of educators and learners as we continue to shift from traditional teaching methods to more participative learning. So let's carry forward these perspectives to foster a richer, more engaging and educational experience for all. Thank you.
I request Dr. Vaijayanti Mala ma'am to do the honor of introducing our guest speaker, Dr. Pratibha Shivashankari ma'am. Your introduction would be greatly appreciated as we look forward hearing from them.
Good afternoon, respected professors, honored guests, and dear attendees. It's a true privilege for me to stand here and extend a heartfelt welcome to Professor Dr. Pratibha Shivashankari ma'am. I'm proud to say I'm her student. She is my mentor, whose guidance and passion for teaching have left an indelible mark on my life and the lives of so many others. Ma'am is a dynamic professor and had 20 years of experience in academic roles. I'm currently working as a professor in SRM Medical College and Hospital Research Center. Ma'am completed MD Anatomy in Jipmer, Pondicherry, and she had many additional roles. She uploaded more than 500 study videos for UG, PG and paramedical students, and advisory board members for the reference textbook of histology, Inder Basing. Ma'am is a scientific committee member in SRM Medical College and Hospital and reviewer for various national and international Scopus indexed journals. Ma'am won the award Dr. Jayavelu Memorial Award for postgraduates for the best paper presented at scientific session during 2006 and 2007 and won silver medal for the research paper presented on Research Day 2024, and she awarded as International Best Researcher Award on 2024 for the research on effectiveness on game-based learning, a cross-sectional study on phase 1 medical students published in NGCA ISSN International Research Award. And she had many skills like student-centered learning, online teaching, interdisciplinary collaboration, and she's a research expertise, interdisciplinary research and syllabus development. It's my proud to welcome you, ma'am. And also I welcome my professor, Dr. Sundarabandyan sir. He has always inspired us not just to stand our subject, but to approach the learning with curiosity and commitment, their contributions and dedications to the student, and I have a great impact on Dr. Sundarabandyan sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you for the lovely, beautiful introduction. Thank you, Vaijayanti. Happy morning to everyone. Respected senior faculty members and administrators, very good morning to you all. Shall we start? If you say yes, then only I can start. Okay. Can you make it a PowerPoint? Yes. Ready? This is the first slide for the handsome boys, right? Okay, boys, can you please tell me which one is the attractive picture among these two? Only boys, next only I'll move on to girls. Boys? Fast. Hey, this one or this one? Simple question, not in Viva. Waste. Okay, next, girls. We'll move on to girls. Please answer this. Which one is attractive? Huh? Baby. Okay, baby. Girls opted for baby, boys opted for Deepika. Okay, girls, can you please give one explanation? If you get up, raise your hands and give your answer, 2 marks will be added in the internal assessment. HOD, sir? Okay, right? 2 marks and we have chocolates for you. So please answer. Why do you like this little chubby baby? What is the peculiar feature? What attracts? Smile. See, RBG is answering. Negative marks. Okay, see the baby smiles. Okay, that's baby smiles. So when you smile, what will happen? What gets released? Dopamine. Dopamine is what hormone? YouTube, daily you are watching Instagram, right? So you must be knowing this. Happy hormone. So look at this picture, it looks like Johnson, sir, right? So this is, you should be very happy always, right? So throughout the session, you have to be like this baby, not like Deepika Padukone, who has something like a depleted dopamine. So be happy and cherish throughout this 45 minutes. Now the learning objectives. Now you are, when did you join? When did you join in this medical school? Okay, hardly 1 month. So like pre-KG student only, I have to teach you all, not like medical educator, right? So these are the learning objectives we are going to learn today. Prevailing myths in medical education, how to recognize and dealing with persistent myths in medical education. Ready? So before entering into the medical school, before entering into what is medical education, you must know what are the myths, who are all making us fool. Then only you should know the truth. You will be knowing the truth. Do you know these terminologies? Logical fallacy, cognitivism, and anecdotal evidence. You should say no, then only I can proceed my lecture. Yes? No. Very good. So, let us see what is that. Now, already it is raining outside. Here also raining inside. Who is she? This question. Tirsa. Tirsa we cannot give chocolates. Now, Tirsa is complete. What is happening there? Trisha is dancing. Tirsa is dancing in what? Rain. So, see, keep on staring Trisha like this. Don't do like that. Okay. You should give me the answer fast. Okay. So, if Trisha is dancing, what will happen in rain? She will get cold. Okay. So, for so many decades, we have been doing that. So, cold is produced by what? You must know this. Cold is not just produced by dancing in the rain and drenched. Right? So, you must know cold is produced by what? Which virus? Coronavirus. Assam virus. Okay, right. Fine. Very good. So, the chorus answer column, we cannot give chocolates, right? You should give me only one answer, right? What is it? Earth. Thank God. Earth is flat. True or false? Thanks. How do you know that? Already you have learned. Isn't it? Very good. So, you have learned something, that's why you denied. Is autism caused by vaccination? No, very good. This also you might be knowing. That's why you said you denied. No, don't tell true rubbish things. No. Homeopathic cures where allopathy fails. Yes or no? Yes, rather. No, yes, no. Okay, this and all you will be reading later on. So you must know the truth. What is truth? Then only you can deny this is not truth, something. Okay, so for our topic, I have to post this picture of the legendary leader. Who is that? Very good. Tandai Periyar. Okay, so he is Tandai Periyar. And who is this? It is written there. Okay, so there are some similarities between these two legends. In his book also, he mentions something as on sophistical refutations. What is the refutation? That and all we are going to see today's lecture. They both denied this logical fallacy. What is the logical fallacy? For the past few minutes, I have been using this term logical fallacy. What is this? We will see that. Immediately after seeing this lady in YouTube channel, my heart beat goes up, palpitations. Who is this female? Female doctor. Okay, she is Dr. Lenin. Beetroot juice kudcha, you can prevent heart attack. Like that, and all fake videos she'll be making. How many of you have seen these videos? Only 1 or 2, 3, yes. Okay, see, whenever these kind of things are there, what does it mean? Logical fallacies, over generalization of own experience. They will be talking about their own experience and they say it is truth. So, this is called logical fallacy. Who is he? Rajini. For that also you are taking much time. Correlate Rajini with this. Since you are all first year students, it's very difficult. I'll tell you, this big one is iota. See the next one. Why Rajinikanth got admitted in hospital? No idea, but Rajinikanth is there in hospital. I think this is a newer generation, that's why they don't bother about Rajinikanth. Okay, so we'll ask the senior faculty members here. Okay, so right. So see, he was admitted in hospital for some stenting procedure, and here is the risk factors I have given. So Rajinikanth, this aortic aneurysm, this stenting operation, and these are the risk factors. So can you please quickly tell me what could be the correlation between Rajinikanth and the risk factor? Which one could be the possible one? Louder please. Smoking. Yes, smoking. So this is how you should think from the beginning. If somebody is admitted, if somebody is coming like this into a lecture hall, you will be thinking, hey, what happened to them? This is called critical thinking. Okay, this is called critical thinking and problem solving. We will be reading about this later. And forget about behaviorism and constructivism. Only cognitivism you should learn. Cognitivism focuses on mental process of the brain, thinking of the learner. So we all, not only you. Okay, all of us are learners. lifelong learning for me. Even though I'm a senior, lifelong learning. This cognitivism is a process in the brain that should happen. Why it should happen? That's what we are going. Anecdotal evidence. What is it? What is he holding in the hands? What is there? I can see. Okay. In villages, they see my grandpa daily he drinks, but nothing happened to him. Isn't it? That is called as anecdotal evidence. So whatever happened to them, they'll be thinking that is correct. So that is anecdotal evidence. They carry this anecdotal evidence for many decades. Look at this. This is how we all learned anatomy. Chalk and talk teaching. Okay. Their teacher will be talking with the board. We all will be sitting somewhere. And next, this is how physiology, they draw the heart and they will be doing the circulation and all. Then I will be thinking, what is she doing with the board? Then later, nowadays, teachers like us, techie teachers, we use 3D animations, everything. And we started explaining everything. This is our external origin of the coronary arteries. We just post the 3D pictures.
The coronary arteries from the internal aspect of the aortic root. We've dissected this heart to show you.
Okay, so which one you like? The traditional way of teaching, like what chalk and talk teaching, or we'll be showing the openings of the coronary artery, how the coronary arteries are coming out, how it gets blocked, everything. Which one do you like? First years. Which one? Yeah, the newer teaching, right? Very good. So how many of you are daily taking this drink? You can take this drink and straight away go to the NEET PG exam. You'll get 100 marks. Okay, so this is Horlicks Promine and this is Mother Horlicks. In utero itself, your brain, myelination, everything gets, aging and brain plasticity. Previously, we were taught like only the myelination occurs up to this age. Up to that only you can learn all these newer things and you can learn multiple languages, everything. Nowadays, they have newly confirmed that hippocampus is getting myelinated every time. Okay, so the neuronal generation occurs till the end of your life. So even at the age of 75 also you can learn something new. These are all new terminologies. So whatever we learn 10 decades before, 20 decades before, now it is proven that it is wrong. Understood? So see the science, it is getting up every day. Okay, like that. Logical fallacy, cognitive distortion and anecdotal evidence. All these things are myths. You have to break the myths. Can you get the answer now? Do you all agree with me? What is logical fallacy? Can you understand what is logical fallacy? What is cognitive distortion? And what is anecdotal evidence? Yes or no? Students? Thank you. Okay, now something new in NMC, because we have been following this. Understand, first you should know, remember. I'll ask you questions now. Get ready. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate and create. Now you understand this 4. What is at the bottom? What is next? You please. Ready? Can I change the slide now? Say yes, ma'am. Okay, ready. This is the question paper. Look at this question paper. Which answer is straight? Which answer stimulates you to think? Louder. Questions for the students. First question is there, second question is there. Which one you should think a lot? Second, very good. Who answered second? Please raise your hand. Yes, clap for him. For 1 chocolate for him, keep it ready. Okay, right? 2 marks in internal assessment, right? So the second question is bit different. So you need to, this question, immediately after seeing the question tongue, you will be started answering. Even we did the same. But this is our HOD has framed this kind of questions. This question, you need to know why the pain and swelling in the left breast, why the breast is fixed to the chest wall, why the lymph nodes are palpable. All these questions you must analyze. So what is the structure lying behind? Why the breast is not movable? Why in cancer it occurred like this? Why lymph nodes enlarged? All these are critical thinking. So this is important. Look at this kind of question paper. What is new in this paper? Can you see CO, PO and BL? Can you see the BL? Can you correlate what is this BL and the previous slide we used a term. What is the previous slide? What was the previous slide? Anybody? Some name it was written. Can I go back? What is it? What taxonomy? Bloom's taxonomy. So the first answer, tongue question, falls under which category? Tongue is a question. So I taught you tongue. So it falls under which category? Very good, very good. He answered. Okay, remember. Very good, remember. Very good. Second, remember and you understood something and you have written. Second question, lot of things were there in the breast question. That comes under which category? Yes. What is that? Apply. Very good. Very good. Clap others. Otherwise everyone will fall asleep. Okay. Right. Apply. So then analyze. So this is very important. This is what Bloom's taxonomy. Hereafter the question paper will be like this for you all. So you should know how to apply all these things, whatever you have learned and you are learning. And what is called aha moment. Okay. We'll see aha solno. See, this is how we will be teaching you in abdomen. The abdomen has these many areas. Here you have liver, here you have spleen, here you have kidney, everything. So, look at this. This is right iliac fossa. What is the organ present here? 12th standard, 10th standard, 5th standard? 5th standard. Tell me, what is that? Liver is here. What is here? It starts with A. Ends with X. In between appendix. Okay, right, appendix is here. We were taught like this only. 9 chambers are there. There is appendix. The commonest portion of the appendix is like that. Like that our teachers they taught. Now, we are teaching our students as, see, there is a patient, 16 years old. He is having pain in the right iliac fossa. Like that we will ask the question. Immediately the student identifies, ma'am, in right iliac fossa we have appendix, like that will be asked. Then, why you have pain? Appendix is here only. Why do you have pain in this region? We will be asking the question. Then you will be answering, ma'am, appendix is also having the same supply T10 and this area, the skin also supplied by T10. Though that's why you are having pain in this region, you will be asking. Then you will be answering. This is how our scenario goes in this age. This is what I learned from my teachers, only these two. I don't know what for I learned appendix in those days. Then in first year I am talking about. Now in first year we teach you everything up to this. There is a muscle lying behind appendix, I will be telling you, by the name psoas major. So if there is any problem with appendix, which muscle will be irritated? Psoas. So that's why we have this test, everything. Like that, this era teaching goes like this. So if anybody doesn't teach you like this, definitely it is wrong. So this is the teaching methodology we have been following. Right. This is a normal anatomy, upper limb. So here you see, what are the bones of upper limb? This area, what is the bone? Clavicle is here. What is this bone? Bone. Humorous. Okay. Look at these two pictures. Our teachers, they taught us like this. And what is the nerve here? Axillary nerve. Okay. Now, can you see something different? You are all new generation students. So, you should know there is something. What is that? Fracture. So, fracture. So, you have to think. Critical thinking. Which nerve will be paralyzed? See how nicely you are answering? This is what critical thinking. As a teacher, I should stimulate you. Something is there in your brain. We should stimulate everything. And Amanga, you will tell. This is how we should learn. Like that, you will be telling. This is the question paper of our university. We will leave that. This is a newer thing. Last month, our NMC has given this for us. Hereafter, the question paper will be like this. Here you see how many sections for critical thinking. Tuck, 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 you should say. Section number 1. Yes or no மட்டும் சொல்லணும். Critical thinking normal scenario, normal one. Critical thinking means case based, case scenario based. They will give you one scenario, one patient coming like this, that and all. You have to give the diagnosis. Scenario based, critical thinking, yes or no? Yes. Second, long essay, it's okay, like tongue-like question. Reasoning, yes, very good. And then short notes, applied anatomy, yes. Clinical application, yes. And then see everything. And then again, short notes outcome, that's all. See, this is the blueprint of the question paper. So you all must know why I should learn what is critical thinking. The critical thinking should not be getting distorted. So you must know this. This is a curriculum shift from student centered to educator centered to student centered and information oriented. For me, the curriculum was information oriented. Now for you, problem based. So you must know everything. It is integrated. I integrated anatomy with orthopedics. I integrated anatomy with surgery, like that. And this is called Miller's pyramid. The student must know, first he should know, and he should know how he knows, and then he should show, and then he should perform it in action. So this and all, it will be dealt later on. So you must know everything. This is what our NMC has given. We are in competency based training program. Look at this, critical thinker. So all of us are facilitators. We should look at this. Preclinical to mixture appra saapalam. You just listen here. Okay. Preclinical to clinical disciplines. There should be some connection. Understood? That's what I have been. Previously, we don't know what for we read appendix, thyroid and all. But now everything is related. For that, what is ECE? Anybody? ECE. Early. Very good. Somebody is answering. Come on. Very good. Chocolate. Third. Okay. Early. Clap for him. Early clinical exposure. So, first year onwards, you will be having this. Now, we have done everything. The first part got over. So, the student must know these are the myths, cognitive bias and fallacies, and word of mouth. Hey, he said like that. That is a false thing. That will be easily spread. Then word of mouth and desire for rational solutions and anecdotal evidence, and that and all we have seen. This is the etiology. Now next about the learning. Okay, left brain and right brain, already we have learned a lot about this, which brain works, but both the brain should work together. This is one learning myth. And stop propagating the learning styles. I always learn with the help of audio. I learn with visual memory. I learn with auditory memory. How many of you learn with recorded audios? Anybody? Yes, he raised recorded audios. Anybody with visual form? Stick notes everywhere in the room. See? Can you use the same methodology for all your topics? No. So as a student, you must know which topic should I use auditory memory, which topic should I use visual memory, everything. You cannot use the entire thing for all subjects. This techniques and all we'll see later. And traditional learning, already we have done. Problem-based learning, we have done. This is what is mandatory carry-home message for the teachers as well as students. Look at this, 5% lecture. 20 minutes over. That's why you have started eating your something, no? What is there? Mixture or something. So you have started eating. 20 minutes over. I have told you, no? Attention span. 5% only lecture you can. Then read. Nobody is going home and reading. And then audio visual. The video is nice. 20%. And demonstration. We do demonstration. You will be peeping into that. That is 30%. Then look at this. Where you reach 90%. Whenever you teach whatever we teach to somebody, that time only that recollection, primary visual area, secondary visual area, primary auditory area, secondary auditory area, everything started working and you will be getting 90% benefit. How many of you love teaching others? That is good. Very good. So do that, then only you will reach 90% capability, whatever you have learned. Prior topic knowledge. If the topic knowledge what you have is correct, that would be nice. If the topic knowledge what you have prior, if it is wrong, definitely you need to correct it. Otherwise, the entire 5 years, 4.5 years will be wasted. Now the myths about technology in education. What is that? Replace the teacher. Can the technology replace the teacher? No, so far no. Create more work for teachers. Teachers should answer. Definitely yes. Create lazy students. That we don't know. But look at this. This is the picture of what anatomy? The PGs are answering. This is the picture of neuroanatomy. Neuroanatomy, it's very difficult to read alone. There should be some facilitator. This is what we experienced. And then slowly, this projector-based learning was there. The teacher will be talking somewhere near. Now, this is the modern era. How, see, many thanks to our HOD. He only introduced this Elmo teaching in SRM. So, we have that opportunity to see this is a simple, small brain sample. Okay, small brain sample. And this small brain sample, we keep it under the Elmo teaching module. And then we project it, and all of you, all the students, they can see small, minute structures, what is there in the cerebral cortex. This kind of technology improvement is there. And look at this. Do you think the students are lazy? After completing my session in the college, see how nicely we are conducting the MCQ test. Say students get up from the desk and they go to the near the board and they scan and then they do the MCQs. Here, see the test, the ranks, everything is there in the hand, not Instagram page. That is quizzes, app, Kahoot app, everything we are using. The students are lazy or not? Not at all lazy. They are interested. See, they are doing all the assessments. Okay. Now, myths in education policy. Policy makers, stakeholders. Okay, we are talking about that. What myth? Initially, me and my senior Dr. Muthu Pratibha, we used to dissect like this only in way back 1996-97. After that, what happened? Now, in few colleges, why to disarticulate everything and show them the liver and spleen? So they will be showing the liver, this is a hilum, this is what going inside, but the student doesn't know where is the liver, who is sitting next to the liver. So this is how the teaching nowadays, only small thing. Now, innu mosam. What is this? Virtual cadaver. You don't know anything. Blue color wire is going on, red color wire is going on. What is missing in that virtual cadaver? Real cadaver, we can touch everything and we can do. What is lagging in that? Feel, the tactile sensation is lagging. Tactile sensation, don't feel anything. Okay, so that is the thing. But all the administrators, I don't know why they want to buy this virtual table, nobody knows. Because we are not ready to donate our body. How many of you are willing to donate? If you donate our body, then only we can do the dissection like this. Otherwise, you all will be, next generation will be using this only. Okay? Our educators. Now your NMC is focusing mainly on small group teaching, flipped classroom module, all these things. But our college and other colleges, they get admission for how many students? 250. 500. So we'll be like Manadu Madri, we'll be taking the class. Okay, then what is happening? Like this, backbenchers, see nicely. What is this fellow doing? They all will be happily enjoying at the backbench. So this is the bigger mistake what is being happening nowadays. So improving class size, student learning, what is the first one? Reduce class size and co-teaching, this and all later. Class size should be reduced. Then only one-to-one interaction. Easily the students can get what the teachers are teaching. Now last part, why to debunk? So far I have taught about the myths and all. Now I should talk about debunk, why to debunk. Then only you can enhance learning and improve the study habits, reduce stress. What is that stress? Look at this, consequences. What are the consequences? Teaching profession, devaluation. And then waste of resources, all resources, virtual cadaver and all so costly. That and all we are purchasing. What is the purpose of that? Okay, so these are the myths. How to demystify? So if you want to demystify, you have to do something. Scientifically correct information should be given. One. Second is refutation. And the third one is think aloud methodology. This is for the teachers. This refutation, what is that? We'll see. This, we are coming to the end. Clinical reasoning. What is the difference between this clinical reasoning? Already I have showed. So again and again I don't want to show. This person is opening the mouth and closing the mouth. It is given as thyroglossal cyst. So as a student you should ask me, why ma'am? Why this swelling moves and up, down with protruding the tongue? Like that you should ask the questions to us. Then only we will be giving you the answers. If we don't give, you have to ask. What is called think aloud method. This is the cognitive process and decision making strategies. These two will be improved. Think aloud method, step by step. How the student is solving the problem. That if you know, then only the critical thinking will be stimulated in your brain. So this method every teacher and the student should follow. This and all, it is there as a separate PDF copy. If you are interested, you can read it later. Now some challenges. Definitely, if you want to debunk something which has been practicing for the longer period, definitely you need some challenges. Deep rooted. Okay. Resistance. I don't want to take anything new. Abundance of educational myth. What is this? What is this law? Can you please read? Can you see from there? Brandolini's law. Okay, what is that law? With that we'll end. Have you seen this fellow somewhere? Somewhere. Okay. Idai Sapital Sakra Noikunam. Tamil students can. This fellow? Shamili, Dr. Shamili. Huh? Okay. Now you read the law, you can easily correlate. What is the law says? The amount of energy needed to refute bullshit is always an order of magnitude larger than it took place to produce it. So we need to be very careful. So what you have to do, if these quacks are doing all sort of nonsense, as a medico, what will you do? Who is that? Instagram. Okay, Santosh. And who is that? Clap, clap, clap. At least our students. Now the lecture gets over. Thank you so much. So if you follow these two, because they give all the references whenever they talk, they give the references and they talk. So please, if you want to refute, if you want to put them out, debunk, you need to know these people. You want to be like these people, scientifically proven. That should be taken into account. Devame, okay. So someone should be there like this, right? Now the remedies. Remedies is pre-bunking. What is pre-bunking? You just read it out. I don't want to go into the details. You should know what is true. So warn your audience. Add some detail. Detail. You should know what is true. With the reference you should give. Then only we can pre-bunk. Combines both correct scientific knowledge and rejection of misconceptions. Correct knowledge should be there, then only you can reject the misconceptions. All myths in medical education deserve to be busted. Two things you should know, that is called refutation. This is a newer terminology you have learned. Throughout your career, you should follow this refutation. And look at this. What is this? The last slide, what is this? If you scrub this on your skull, what will happen? It will stimulate the hair growth. Is it true or you want to refute? Refute, very good. That's what we want. So if you want to refute as a medical student, so look at this. This is the background information. Case series. Case series means many case studies. And case control study, cohort study, this and all you will be coming to know in future. But thing is, here PGs and PhD scholars and faculty are there. They will be teaching you systematic review. You should check all the articles. Don't believe YouTube and Instagram. Take all the reference articles and just check whether it is true or false. Onion is good. What is there in onion? what is the purpose, what are the uses of onion, you refer the reference articles. That is what we want to tell you. So this pyramid is important. Inna, what is written here? Indama, A. Where is the reference? You should ask me. So far you have been talking all things. Where is the reference? Should I give reference or not? Whatever I posted. Yes, I must give. See, these are the two lovely books. Whatever I have taken, everything is from this book. Understood? So, in future, if you want to give lectures like this, you have to give references like this. Whatever you talk, you should talk with the reference. Okay? With that, I conclude my session. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And special thanks to Gladwin sir, Johnson sir. And special thanks to our Chennai Rain and Pradeep John for keeping the pressure, low pressure under control. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir?
Hello, my name is Pragatish.
Pragatish. Check.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Tanuja.
Thank you. Only two.
I enjoyed the presentation. Thank you so much, ma'am. I really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you. And I got to know about many things which I didn't know before. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As a first year student, you must know what should be learned and what should not be believed, just like that. Okay, right? Okay, any question session? Question session? Question very good. Okay. Senior faculty members, ma'am. Let us come. Finish.
Okay, sit back, relax, we'll wait for the inaugural function. Encourage each of you to engage fully, ask questions, share your thoughts, make new acquaintance. Thank you for being here. Let's make our time together. So please rise up for Tamil Thai Valthu.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Kickstart the program with light of inspiration. We request all the dignitaries to light the Kuthuvalakku. I request our dear HOD sir, Captain Cool, to deliver the welcome address. Welcome address.
Good morning, one and all present here. It's my immense pleasure to be present in front of you in this wonderful morning to deliver the welcome speech. First of all, I would like to thank the Almighty whose presence has helped to begin this event. It's an honor itself to gather here for the guest lecture, asking the right questions, a trajectory in the life of a medico. With the greetings of Engineer A.C.S. Arun Kumar, President, Dr. MJR Educational Institute, I would like to welcome our Vice Chancellor Madam, Dr. S. Geetha Lakshmi Madam, our Registrar, Dr. C.B. Painivalu Sir, our Dean, Dr. Balasubramanian Sir, our Medical Superintendent, Dr. Sendhanathan Sir, our Special Officer, Thiru Gnanasegaran Sir, our Principal, Dr. Hema Chandrika Madam, and our Vice Principals. I would like to welcome our guest speakers, Dr. Muthu Pratibha Madam, Professor, Department of Physiology in Sri Ramchandra Medical College, and Dr. Pratibha Sivashankari, Professor, Department of Anatomy, SRM Medical College. Welcome, madams. And special welcome to all the faculties and PGs who have come from other colleges. And last but not the least, I would like to extend my warm welcome to our dear doctors, staff, colleagues, and my dear students. And don't forget to be thankful, you're blessed. Life is too short to be stressed, so enjoy the session. Thank you.
I request our Vice Chancellor ma'am to felicitate our guest speaker, Muthu Pratibha ma'am. Clap. I request our Dean Sir to felicitate Dr. Pratibha Sivashankari ma'am. I request our HOD sir to felicitate VC ma'am. Muthukumar sir. I request Muthukumar sir to felicitate our Dean sir.
As a small token of appreciation for coming over and being a part with us, calling Preeti ma'am. Preeti ma'am, thank you for your amazing contribution to our panel discussion. Requesting Johnson sir to please felicitate her with a lovely plant. Requesting Vasuki ma'am to please come over to the stage. Thank you so much ma'am for giving the touch of seniority and professionalism and experience to our panel discussion. Requesting HOD sir to please honor our ma'am. Requesting Pavitra ma'am to please come over to the stage for making the panel discussion absolutely smooth as ice. Requesting Muthukumar sir to please a small token to our very respected principal ma'am, requesting Johnson sir to please give away. And also to our respected special officer sir, requesting our HOD sir to please do the honors.
I call upon Dr. Johnson sir to say a few words about the event.
Chancellor, Head of the Department, Dean, colleagues and friends, it's with great privilege we host the first program of the Anatomy Department in Sri Lalitambikai Medical College. We have been planning to celebrate the World Anatomy Day last month, but because of the inclement weather, it got postponed. But as Dr. Shruti was mentioning, ever since we decided to go green, supporting the nature has been turning its other face on us. And thanks to all the people who have come here, especially Vice Chancellor and Dean, irrespective of their hectic schedule. This is not a word of mouth I am telling. Literally 2 inspections are happening in the campus. I know how busy they are. Thank you, Madam and Sir, for your presence here. This program is focused on self-directed learning and based on the recommendations of the competency-based medical education, which was rolled out in 2018-19. Because of the pandemic, it got slowed down and now it has got picked up momentum, and all of us are focusing our attention on bringing out successful Indian medical graduates, and we are committed to train the young minds here, and we wanted the faculty to be sensitized about the various aspects of the competency-based medical education. The very presence of 3 heads of the departments from the city colleges highlights how important the topic is, and as many as 70 faculty from other colleges have registered, but maybe because of the rains that attendance is low here. And I thank the management, the sole sponsors for this event, and thank each one of you for taking time to come for this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's my great honor, privilege to introduce our Vice Chancellor, ma'am, Dr. Geeta Lakshmi, ma'am, today. We are fortunate to have her with us, whose work has a profound impact in our medical field. Your expertise in microbiology and also in administrative works, your inspiring work make you the ideal speaker to set the tone for this event. We believe your insights will be invaluable to our audience and will help make the event more impact and memorable. Ma'am, I request you to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you. A very good morning to my dear first year students who are here. என்னப்பா ஸ்மைலே காணோம். குட் மார்னிங் வேணாம், கிளாப்ஸ் கட்டினா போகிறோம். So I believe that you are all alert, and thanks to the Department of Anatomy. In fact, I have my sincere thanks to the Anatomy Department. Always I think my teachers, even today, two teachers I remember. One is Swayam Jyoti, Seva, and Cooper. The three of them, still I will not say that they were the mentors for me. In fact, today I remember the surface marking, the nerve root, many things which I learnt in the first year. That has helped me to go through my medicine, even though I am MD microbiology and did my PhD in allergic bronchopulmonary. I still have my days where the anatomy was made easy for me. Thanks to the anatomy department, I hope so. The present teachers are also the same, because these students, even if you are not here, they should remember all of you by name. Right? That's what we need today from the students. That is how I see a teacher. So thanks to our Department of Anatomy, our Dean and other faculty who are here, and thanks to our management, to our Chancellor and Chairman A.C. Shanmugam, and our President ACS Arun Kumar, for giving you this opportunity today to know about the recent advances and self-learning in anatomy. Though it might be sound, because I also want to know the recent trends. So when I went through it, the technology has developed so fast that it is easy to learn anatomy right now. So with this, I think so most of you have the apps and software, where the platforms like Complete Anatomy. I do not know how many of you, if you want, you can search Complete Anatomy, Zygote Body, and Biodigital Human provide a detailed, interactive 3D models that allow you to zoom, rotate, and isolate structures for a deep understanding of the human body. I think so you all can, because it's a self-learning. I think so you can go through these apps and learn your anatomy very well, and also you can make the students to teach the anatomy rather than you teaching them. They will teach the anatomy. Then you have the VR, AR. If anybody interested, we have a AR, VR lab in the university campus. You can make a module out of your anatomy in our lab, so that any one of you can come over, and of course the dean can give a award or a prize for those students who come forward to do these through their AR and VR. And because then you have the digital cadavers and dissection simulators, artificial intelligence, through where you have the app, AI generated study plans, which is Quizlet and KenHub, which can help you in your study process, whether you have learned the anatomy. So these are the recent trends where you have, I've already told to have a 3D printing through HOD. Yeah, so there is a 3D printing CAD here, and the students can also involve, அது மாதிரி ஒரு projects கொடுங்க, so that they can come to the CAD-CAM lab and do those 3D models. Then you have the MOOC online platform. I think so, Dr. Balasubramanian, Dean, have you introduced them to the MOOC platform, where you have the edX, Khan Academy, who have the anatomy courses. So I think so the MOOC courses, which is free, you can go through it, and the gamified learning, which I think so you can practice with the anatomy apps. Then telemedicine and digital microscopy, because you need not have microscope right now. So everything has changed right now. You need not have a cadaver. So it's easy for them to learn. Of course, each one of them should know what is a cadaver and how it has to be dissected. So those days we had the Cunningham's and Gray's anatomy. You know, it's very difficult to go through Cunningham's, and all our book will be oiled. Tell me why it is oiled. because of the fat, because we dissect, all the fat sticks to our, the oil in the fat sticks to our, when you dissect, and whole anatomy, Cunningham's will be oiled, right? So the smell itself, it will be the smell, it will smell. We are used to those smell in the Cunningham's dissection book. So that is how we learn. But today, everything has changed. I do not know. And in Gray's Anatomy, the Gray's Anatomy book is such a big book. But we go through, and embryology is very good in the Gray's Anatomy. And I want each one of you, go through this embryology. You will know what is life. You will know what is life when you go through the embryology, how a life is formed. Then you know the philosophy of life also. So anatomy, from anatomy going to the philosophy of life makes you a good human being. And thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. I request our mentor, sage, guru, wise man, instructor, guide and whatnot, our Dean sir, to deliver the inaugural address.
I don't know whether I deserve those phrases, but still anyhow, she has given me all those credits. Whether I like it or not, whether I deserve it or not, I take it. Respected Vice Chancellor Madam, respected Special Officer Sir, respected HOD and my dear friend Dr. Vasant, Dr. Muthukumar, Dr. Johnson Sir, Dr. Rammurthy Sir, and respected professors who have come here to share their knowledge, my friends in front of me, and my colleagues, and my dear students. Coming into the anatomy, it really takes me back when I was in Madras Medical College. There, the anatomy department block will be colored in red. We used to call it Red Fort. So what they used to say is, when you get into the Red Fort, it is very difficult to come out of it. So tough was the course, and people half the class used to fail in anatomy. So what happened was, we were shuddering when we entered the Red Fort. Okay, 3 years or 2 years, I was worried. Director, his name was Dr. Muthu. He was transferred from Madurai, and we used to call him Madurai Muthu. Our student friendly man. He used to be very friendly with us. He used to be very jolly, happy go guy. And in the midst of our taskmasters, this man stood out like a darling for the students. Exam, I used to be the examiner. Bone at the first thing you need to say is identify the bone, and then which side you need to tell the examiner. So what he will tell the student is, hey, now bone kudukumbodhu yenda kaiyala kudukren paare. Ellarum we used to say right side la kudutharna the right side. So em friend oru en munala pona rendu kaiyala pelvis eduthu kudutharu. Avan vaanga maatendran. He said, no, I won't take. Edha oru kaiyila kudunga sir, rendu kaiyila kudutha eppadi sir? So we were so naive, we were so, what you say, onume theriyama da anatomy padichom. But still, we managed to become surgeon and all of that. It doesn't mean that whatever you learn in anatomy is going to be a waste. That is going to be your breadwinner. Bread, butter, jam is only done in anatomy. One thing I differ from this, what you call images, reconstructed images, 3D images. There's nothing like touching a cadaver, feeling a cadaver, cutting the skin, opening the skin, seeing the structures for yourself. It cannot be replaced. We had the pleasure of dissection, and in this college, thankfully, we have human soul who are donating their body to ensure that you get the best education. Let us first thank those noble soul and their relatives who have been gracious enough to hand over the body of their kith and kin to us, to students, so that you can learn. So I want everybody to respect the donation they have made, and thankfully our college is getting enough cadavers because of these noble souls. Let us be thankful to each and every one of them. We should respect a cadaver, and no book can replace a cadaver. So please make use of the facility here and ensure you get the best out of it. Thank you so much.
I request our principal ma'am to say a few words for the students.
Good morning, everybody. My dear students, as Dean sir pointed out, we used to remember our anatomy professors till today because I did my first year in Tanjavur Medical College. Dr. Sachidanandam and Dr. Vedanayagam were there. So he'll be there 8 o'clock. The dissection starts means he'll be there at 7:50 at the entrance. There will be a skull picture there. So he'll stand near the entrance. Nobody can cross him and enter without his knowledge. So we used to rush and enter the anatomy. So that was the time. So I love anatomy so much. My auntie is an anatomist, Dr. Swayam Jyoti. So I used to sit with her and correct anatomy papers and see the pictures. That is why I fascinated, and I was up to take anatomy as my PG. But due to some personal reasons, I switched over to physiology. So anatomy still today, I used to open Gray's Anatomy and see the pictures. And my son, when he joined MBBS, I was working in GG Hospital with Dr. Kamala Selvaraj. She bought one anatomy, Gray's Anatomy, and it's presented to him. Still I have it. So the anatomy is a subject. When you want to become a surgeon, good surgeon, anatomy, you have to be very thorough. When you put a knife, what all the structures you will just injure, you must know. So it's a basis, and physiology is the base for your medicine. Kindly please concentrate, and thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we'll have a short break for 5 minutes. We'll assemble back for the next speaker. Clear? You can go for a short break for 5 minutes. Thank you.
So it's an absolute privilege for me to be introducing our second guest speaker of the day, Dr. K. Muthupradeepa ma'am. She is currently working as a professor in Department of Physiology in Ramachandra Medical College. Ma'am has given a very simple, shrunk, 3-page introduction. Her shrunk biodata is going to 3 sides, okay? And she has only picked up the very special features in hers. So apart from doing her MD and doing the medical aspect of her part as a teacher, as an orator, she has amazing other qualities too. She is into writing books. She loves writing books. She has contributed as an author. If you open your Ross and Wilson books of anatomy and physiology, she is one of the author in the 2022 edition. And she's also contributed in Best and Taylor's Textbook of Physiology 2012 edition. Ma'am has, of course, full craze for publications, research, and she doesn't go by the textbook, okay? She's not like the regular you or me. She goes a little bit out of bounds, and she has a lot of funded research projects. It's not easy to do funded research projects. To have the idea to apply and get funds is absolutely difficult. She has several projects under her kitty, which is in ICMR. She's got 5 projects under her name. She has done some projects in relation to Tamil Nadu State Council in Science Technology, National Council for Science and Technology, and student research projects, which she has guided is 32. So ma'am has also published a lot of papers and extracurricular. She writes fiction, and she has debuted her fiction, which released in 2014 with the title Three Little Women from 17/114, Ganesh Illam, and a second novel in 2020, Rain Diaries. This is what she's printed and given. Something else special from this is what I have seen, ma'am, is that she's very small, she's very silent, but she's an atom bomb. When she blasts each spark, she has a peculiar color, a different character to it. She is bombarded with knowledge, just not subject or pertaining to one stream. She is multifaceted. I have seen, ma'am, I've seen you doing workshops. I've been in her workshops. I have seen her give a different view to everything that she has touched on. So it's an absolute privilege that I got the opportunity to introduce you, ma'am, today, and take over. The mic is yours, ma'am.
Okay. Can you hear me, all of you? Okay. So, what Shruti didn't tell about me is that I'm a very shy person, okay? And that I become extremely shy with such beautiful introductions, but I'm so grateful to you, Shruti. To add to all those introductions is that I think we can also add to the CV that I'm blessed with beautiful people wherever I go. So I'm here today because of Johnson sir, and I always say the first ever guest lecture that I delivered probably in the year 2009, or I'm not sure about the year, but the first guest lecture opportunity was given to me by Johnson sir. So when sir asked, like, would you like to come to speak here? I mean, is there even a question? I would love to come to the college and speak. And then, very recently I got introduced to Sundar Pandian sir at SRM College. The other speaker who spoke ahead of me, Pratibha, we share names. I was just 1 year senior to her in UG in Tirunelveli Medical College. And then I have my postgraduate student, Jayashree, some colleagues. Shruti was someone who I knew earlier. So what I realize is that it is beautiful to be blessed with a lot of people. And I was speaking to Ramesh sir, who said, like, how you are in a place because you're meant to be there. And I guess I'm meant to be here today because of all these beautiful people. And Shruti, thank you for that lovely introduction. Okay, so now we will give thanks to the management for having me here. And so let's begin with the lecture. But I'm not sure if the students are carrying a notebook with you, if you have a piece of paper with you. I planned the first, the slide, assuming that all of you will have a piece of paper, but it's okay, we can always slightly modify it. Can you open the fourth one, SDL? Yeah, where the cursor is. Okay. Right. So what do you see here, all of you? A circle? Okay, so if you have a piece of paper, draw a circle. Now, if you don't have, it's okay. Imagine a circle. And I'm going to ask you to make something out of this circle. Imagine something. Imagine if you had a piece of paper and you had drawn a circle in it. And I ask you to create an object or do something with a circle. So let's all take about 10 to 15 seconds to think what you want to do with the circle. But then there is, thank you so much, Da. There's a small condition to it. You cannot think of a sun, you cannot think of a flower, you cannot think of a smiley, you cannot think of a ball. Okay? Using the circle, you cannot think of all these 4 options. Now we'll have about 10 seconds to think, to draw, to imagine what you want to do with the circle. Okay, can I have some answers? What did you imagine with your circle? One by one, yeah? Sorry? Butterfly, okay. So she imagined, so you drew the wings out of the circle out there. Okay, she compressed the circle a bit also, I believe, in the center. Is that so? Okay. Anything else? What did you think? Sorry? You imagined a car? One of the wheels is this? Okay. Somebody else? Yes? You imagined a donut. That's okay. It's very unfair of you to speak of a donut at 12 o'clock. Okay. Somebody else? What did you think of it? Yes? Eyeball. Fantastic. Yes? More options? A clock. Okay. What else did you think with that? A clock. Great. Somebody else? A Venn diagram, okay, beautiful. Anybody else that you thought of something? Right. So, 10 seconds and one empty circle or a line drawing of a circle, what we realize is that each one of us here is unique, special, and extremely different from one another. As individuals, as learners, and as teachers, we are all unique and we are uniquely different. So what I did was, to select pictures for the presentations, we usually go into Google Images and try finding pictures, and I typed unique learning styles. All the quotes, this is just one quote that I'm projecting here, all the quotes that I saw were pertaining to learning and a child. It was so hard to find in the entire first screen of Google Images that learning could also be done by an adult. Okay, however, I'm going to replace the word child here with an adult. Every adult has a different learning style and a pace. Every child is unique, not only capable of learning, but also capable of succeeding. So, we have people of different kinds here, of different age groups, okay? I want each one of you to put yourself in whichever role you are, teacher, student, professor, medical educator, doctor, clinician, but then answer these 3 questions to yourself and then we'll take some inputs. Very recently, okay, probably in the last 3 to 4 years, what did you learn that was not taught to you formally? Meaning you didn't go to school for that, you didn't take a training for that, you didn't sign up for a course for that, but you ended up learning something on your own. And why did you learn what you learned? How did you go about learning what you chose to learn? Okay, so I want you to think, maybe we'll take a minute. In the last few years, what did you learn that was not taught to you and not taught to you formally? You learned it informally by yourself. Why did you learn it and how did you go about learning it? You may be still learning it also, it's okay. But then please take few, 30, 40 seconds and let me know some answers. Yes, is there anyone who wants to go for it from the faculty? Did you learn anything recently on your own? Yes, Pratibha. Okay, so Pratibha, you started learning yoga and you did not sign up for any course. You were not signed up under a teacher, right? Why did you learn yoga? Well-being. So you wanted to explore well-being and so you started training yourself in yoga. And how did you go about learning it? Okay, can you give a few examples of what kind of platforms you chose? YouTube? Was there anything else? Okay, so Insta Reels also. So she, in the last few years, she had tried to learn yoga without any formal training. She used YouTube and Insta videos. And the reason why she did it was for her own well-being. Anybody else? From the faculty, from the students? Yes? Cooking, okay. So you did not, sign up under a chef. You did not go for a cooking course or anything, right? So you started learning cooking by yourself. Why did you do it? Okay, so she got married and you wanted to cook for yourself, your family. And how did you go about learning it? Through various digital platforms, YouTube and other videos you learned. I hope you're successful at it. Fantastic. Okay. Lovely. From the students, can I hear something from the students? Yes? Yes, dear. The one who raised your hands. Yes. Crochet. So you learned how to, it's a form of knitting, isn't it? Crochet. Okay. And so you learned it by yourself. Why did you learn it? Okay. So to cut on the cost and to become independent on making your own toys, you started learning crochet. And how did you learn it? Okay. Lovely. So you found someone, you found a mentor, you found a guide to look into the initial basics, and then you were on your own, probably watching some videos and then trying your own styles as such. Could we have one more example? Someone? Yes? You're waving your hands to each other or you're waving it to me? Anybody? Yes. Okay, so here is someone who is learning something not tangible, something intangible. She learned how to overcome inferiority complex. And why did you learn it and how did you learn it? You wanted to make more social relationships, you wanted to mingle with people, and you were otherwise feeling very shy and isolated. So you had an issue and you wanted, and okay, we'll keep her aside for a few seconds. Friends, do you think she's learned the art of, overcoming her complex? Absolutely, that you spoke about it today. I think she deserves a great round of applause. Thank you. Can you tell us how you did it? Sorry, could you be a little louder? So you tried and you tried talking to them and then you slowly built on yourself. That's beautiful. Is there anyone who is willing to share an experience? Can I have your hands up? Otherwise, I'll move on. So, in all the 4 situations that we saw here, we found people who are adults, who are still willing to learn something. That's beautiful. And they did not sign up under anybody or any course or any university for a formal education. Yet, they ended up learning successfully what they wanted to learn. They found the resources. And more importantly, they had a strong reason why they wanted to learn it. So something on the similar lines, I'm going to deliver the lecture titled Self-Directed Learning, Nuts and Bolts of the Process. Okay, I gave a very fancy title, but what I'm going to tell you here very honestly is that with a disclaimer, for you and for me, a few maybe weeks or months ago, self-directed learning is the most commonly used and the least understood term in competency-based medical education curriculum. And I cannot say that I've understood it completely, but thanks to this opportunity and a book given by Johnson Sir, I tried deciphering a lot about self-directed learning. I understood that I did not know many things earlier in the right context, and I'm going to share a few points of my learning in the next few minutes with you. So, as we learn, we ascend in our understanding. I have broken down the lecture into first, let's break the myths about self-directed learning. We'll strengthen the basics. We'll fix our mindset as teachers and as learners to approach self-directed learning confidently. We'll find out what are the various toolkits available for us. Let's make a plan together for self-directed learning and a little bit of a summary towards the end. Okay, so here we go. Can you name these people? Okay, the first person, Albert Einstein. This is the clue? Yes? This is the clue. Yes, I heard the answer. Not Rolls-Royce, but I heard the answer from someone. Henry Ford, okay. This one? Faraday, fantastic. Who said that? That's beautiful, okay. And this one? Yes? Charles Darwin? Our own person? Ramanuja. What's so beautiful when I asked ChatGPT, give me a list of people who have been self-taught and who identified what they achieved in their lives on their own without formal education. I got a list of about 10 to 12 people. These were the few people who I could connect to and to their discoveries. All of them, not any formal schooling, self-taught and found what they found by themselves. Of course, with a lot of help from people and materials. So, going back to the history of self-directed learning, we start with this person called Alvin Toffler, who's the author of the book, The Adults Learning Projects. Now, he apparently wrote a competitive exam when he was young, and he went through this whole process all by himself, understanding the exam requirements, preparing for the exam, and cracking the exam, at the end of which he wrote this book on the adults' learning projects. The only contradictory statement in his thought process is that all adults are naturally motivated to learn. Do you agree or disagree? I have my own thoughts and there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just asking you people. We are all adults in this room, technically. All adults are naturally motivated to learn. Do you agree or disagree? Disagree. Okay, why so? If you agree or disagree, can you also just let me know in a single line, why do you agree or disagree? Yeah. Exactly. So if you look at anything under this, sky to be learnt, then probably everybody is motivated to learn something or the other. If we narrow it down to the scope of medical education, then I think maybe not true. All adults are not naturally motivated, and it is okay, I guess. But someone who gave, in his chapter 5 in the textbook, he examines why adults learn, and he gives 6 reasons. And I'm sure all of us here will identify with at least one, definitely more than one reason. To use the knowledge or skill imminently. Like I had to deliver this lecture, and so I had to read a lot about self-directed learning. Like you have an exam or a workshop coming up, a conference presentation coming up, a postgraduate who needs to do a thesis starts learning reference management. You need to do something within a given timeline, you start learning. To teach the knowledge or skill, like the senior faculty here may not have been so well versed with the computer applications at an earlier point in life, but they are willing to flex and learn new things because they need to teach somebody, to enhance the understanding for a future situation, for pleasure or out of curiosity, to boost self-esteem or confidence, for a credit or a qualification. These are all the various reasons why adults learn, and I'm sure we all fit into one or more of this. But here comes the man who is known as the father of self-directed learning, Malcolm Shepard Knowley. He's a theorist, he's an adult educator, and he coined the term self-directed learning, and he's also considered to be the father of andragogy or adult learning. I'll be talking about it a little later. Now, the rest of the slides are all his reflections to begin with, built upon by other medical educators. Now, before I begin with the actual, nuts and bolts of the process of self-directed learning, in your view, as students, as teachers, as medical educators, what is self-directed learning? Please feel free to express yourself. If it is right, then we are great. If it is not right, fantastic. We had an opportunity to put it forth outside. There are people who might be thinking the same. You're going to help clarify the doubt for yourself and for everyone else. So what, in your opinion, is self-directed learning? Yes? Self-directed learning? Okay. Can you answer these questions? Can you tell me yes or no? Self-directed learning is asking students to learn independently. Is that what you think? Okay, some of them say yes, and I see many of them saying no. Okay? Self-directed learning is similar to problem-based learning, case-based learning, or team-based learning. Yes or no? Yes? It's okay. The first step to learning is to commit something and then build on it. Do you think it is similar to problem-based learning? I can see a few heads nodding this, and I can see a few heads nodding this way. Okay, let's find it out. Self-directed learning is similar to lifelong learning. Okay, so some of you say yes, some of you say, you're unsure. And there are many other thought processes or questions. There were questions in my mind, and I assume that there are certain questions in your mind also. Let's try and clarify one after another. Faculty here would be very familiar, in fact, a bit annoyed seeing this picture, okay? Because whenever this picture pops up, a document is coming in with some drastic changes to be implemented immediately, irrespective of the presence or absence of resources and the right amount of knowledge for going ahead with it. Any idea, especially the younger faculty and the students who have signed up for this competency-based medical education into the year 2024-25, have you heard about the word SDL with regard to Phase 1 MBBS? Have you heard about self-directed learning? SDL sometime during the foundation course or sometime from October 3rd or 4th onwards till date, did you ever encounter the word self-directed learning? Yes, okay. Did anyone talk to you about the number of hours of self-directed learning that you need to do? Yes, are you aware? Okay. So phase 1 MBBS, they say you have about 10 hours of self-directed learning in Anat, Physio and Biochem, and then you have, that is for the phase 2, and you have specific hours for self-directed learning for various years. So, I'm not going to talk about if this is right, if this is self-directed learning at all. But all that we conclude at the end of this slide is that the competency-based medical education put forth by the NMC, revised very recently in 2024 also, talks about engaging the phase 1 medical students in self-directed learning. So let's figure out how to go ahead with this. What do you think about these words? Are they welcome in the current era of learning and education? Recall, rote learning, அதாவது மக் அடிக்கிறது or மனப்பாடம் பண்றது, okay, memory. You know, you are supposed to do this kind of a teaching. Didactic teaching, which I have taken care to explain. Inclined to teach excessively. The medical educators and faculty here, do you think we are able to do any of this in the recent days? Yes? Are any of these considered welcome in the recent days? Yes or no? Students, what about you? Pratibha ma'am was giving examples of 2 MCQs, isn't it, in her lecture? There was a first MCQ on tongue, and then there was a second MCQ with a case scenario. What do you think that the first question did? The first question was basically checking your rote learning and your recall, okay, which could be taught to you by didactic teaching. But the second one was more application oriented, and she beautifully showed you how you ascend in the Bloom's taxonomy. So, when you look at this picture, what is a term that comes to your mind? Yes? A phrase, a term, a set of words that comes to your mind when you see this picture. Lifelong learning. Beautiful. The moment a simple clue comes, it is always followed by a little tough question. Okay? Now, when you look at this picture, which says, thinking about thinking. Thinking about thinking. Can you give me the word which describes this process? Yes? Go ahead and tell it, please. Philosophy, okay. Thinking about thinking, okay. You're thinking about thinking in terms of life, okay, philosophy. Thinking about thinking in medical education in phase 1 MBBS. How would you call it? I'll give you a different picture. It starts here. A task is given to you. You assess the task. You evaluate your strengths and weaknesses. You plan an approach to finish the task. You apply the strategies. Results come out. And then you reflect. And then you take another look at the task to see if you can do better. So what have you done in this whole process? Reflection. So reflection is thinking about thinking. Reflection is thinking. Thinking about whether you've thought right, could you think better, could you think differently. Let me introduce this beautiful word which I also bumped into during my preparation of this lecture, which is known as metacognition. Cognition is just acquiring the knowledge. But once you acquire the knowledge, thinking about it and enhancing it is known as metacognition. Now, why do I introduce these terms to you? Because I want you to pay attention here that self-directed learning is a process leading to the acquisition of metacognitive skills which lead to the person becoming a lifelong learner. So, when you practice self-directed learning as a process over your years of education throughout your life, you acquire the ability to think about your thinking. You acquire metacognitive skills, and that in turn results in you becoming a lifelong learner. What I want you to understand that SDL cannot be narrowed to 10 hours in a subject. Self-directed learning is a process throughout your medical education, throughout your life. What you acquire because of that is an attribute of becoming a lifelong learner. இதை படிக்கணுமா, இதை படிக்க வேண்டாமா, இதை எப்படி படிக்கலாம், லாஸ்ட் டைம் இப்படி படித்தோமே, I didn't do well, this time இதை இப்படி மாற்றி படிக்கலாமா, who can I ask, where can I look for the information? So you think about what you have learned, and that becomes self-directed learning. You start off in this first year as a passive recipient. You go on to active seeker, and then you finally become an incorporator of knowledge using self-directed learning. Now, I know we all don't like definitions. I don't like definitions at all. But then this is a beautiful definition. I've made it more beautiful by coloring it so that I can take you stepwise. If this one slide is paid attention to, as faculty and teachers, I think we get a beautiful understanding of what self-directed learning is. So Malcolm Nolle, who I showed you earlier, defined self-directed learning as a process. Please understand, it is not a one-time event. It is a process which keeps on happening, sometimes all your life, in which individuals take the initiative. So remember Shruti giving her views during the panel discussion that she finally made peace as a teacher by saying that learning is your responsibility. So if you learn crochet, or if you learn yoga, or if I get to learn something new, I have to take the initiative. With or without the help of others, we'll come to that later. In diagnosing their learning needs, what do you want to learn? Today, for this week, for this month, for this year, in this course of MBBS, whatever could be the timeline. Setting learning goals, identifying the learning resources, choosing and implementing the appropriate learning strategy, and finally, after doing all of it, you evaluate the outcomes. Have I really achieved what I wanted to? Have I read what I wanted to? Have I understood what I wanted to do in the first place? Now, this is a definition given by Malcolm Nolle on self-directed learning. I'm going to simplify it in a few slides. In simple words, the core purpose of self-directed learning is learning how to learn. Learning how to learn. How many of you as first MBBS students found your textbooks to be too huge when compared to your standard 12th textbooks? And then, fantastic. I remember the first 2-3 days in physiology, they took general physiology. Now, after coming into post-graduation, I understood, oh, and the 3 naal and the madam vandangalla, she would relate to me. She's Dr. Tamil Kodi ma'am. We had the same teacher. And they all told that she's a very strict teacher. If you smile in her class, you're finished. You're going to sit there for another 1 extra year. So the whole time I was in panic. And I remember her talking little about cell. And she came for 3 days. And I had no clue that she was teaching me general physiology. Only when I signed up for post-graduation, I realized that அந்த 3 classum வந்து general physiology. And so basically I had passed my MBBS without knowing resting membrane potential and action potential itself. And I don't think I ever understood until I joined my post-graduation. That's an honest confession. And then for the first class, the person who changed my life, approach, there was a pediatrician who was posted in the Department of Physiology, Dr. Thirumalai Kolandu, who came to the class and took a class on RBC. And that's when I developed some hope that I can stay in medicine and continue medicine. So I was so happy after his class that I went back and took the textbook. And I saw that what he covered in 40 minutes was about 25 pages in Chowdhury. And in Guyton, I didn't even dare to count the pages, actually. And I sat from 5:30 to 7:30 until pre-dinner. And I had covered about 1.5 pages. Because நம்ம 12th படிக்கிற மாதிரி அப்படி line by line, okay? That biology textbook, I didn't have the NEET exams. I just had to do the theory properly, and I had an entrance exam. And I think I would have done the biology textbook without an exaggeration about 100 times at least, okay? So coming from that place to read 1.5 pages in 2 hours, I thought I have to quit medicine, that I would not be able to do it. And then luckily I met a senior who taught me how I have to run through the concepts, recollect what was taught in the class, and learn to pick the points and arrange my answers. So self-directed learning happened in a very intangible, unknowing way at that point of time. But all that I know is that many of the times we are not able to score marks because we do not know how to learn. We do not know how to learn. We do not know how to present. We do not know how to score. We do not know what to learn from what is learned. So the core purpose of self-directed learning is learning how to learn, and think about what you learned, think about how you learned, keep modifying it, and then eventually arrive somewhere. Which is why I tried to correlate self-directed learning, metacognitive skills, and becoming a lifelong learner in the process. These three terms, pedagogy, andragogy, and heutagogy, this is especially for the faculty and the medical educators here. Pedagogy is what happens in the school and sometimes in the medical college also, where the sage on the stage, as per the panel discussion, the teacher stands on the stage, gives a didactic lecture and transfers information as knowledge to a large group of students. Teacher designs what to do, teacher designs what to talk, students are in a receptive mode. Now, some of you slowly elevate yourselves to andragogy. Both teachers also help you in the process. Learners also develop that attitude of slightly learning on their own. You have an objective for the class. However, the facilitator plays the role of guiding you in your learning process. And then you ascend yourself to heutagogy, where you decide what you learn. So as far as the crochet and the yoga here, you were self-determined. So you became a heutagogic learner. You had a problem of your mom not buying you toys. So you wanted to solve the problem and you decided your approach. You initially found someone to start off. Then you thought you could do it all by yourself. So you were actually practicing heutagogy in your learning of crochet or in your learning of yoga. Merging what Pratibha spoke earlier of the Bloom's taxonomy, when you are at the pedagogy level, you are only trying to remember and understand. As you become an adult learner, you start applying and analyzing, which is what we want you to become in the medical school, and eventually become self-directed learners, where you evaluate the problems and you create solutions. So, self-directed learning is more aligned with heutagogy, but given our scenario of being in a medical college, teaching first MBBS students, it is a structured adult learning environment. It is a adult learning environment, but it is a structured adult learning environment, because you cannot come and tell me I'm a self-directed learner, I'd like to do the first year for about 3 years. No, we have certain structures, rules and regulations and responsibilities to be fulfilled. Therefore, I would call this a structured adult learning environment, where we practice a lot of andragogy and a little of heutagogy and incorporate self-directed learning in it. Now, having set the stage, what remains in the presentation is very simple to understand. What do you need to do, or what are the steps for self-directed learning? First, check the student readiness, motivate the student for self-directed learning, make a learning contract. I'll be spending quite a bit of time on this, and evaluate the self-directed learning that you took up. So, in detail, check the student readiness. Who will check the student readiness? Who will check whether the student is ready or not? Yes? You must answer. Pratibha ma'am, evlo clap lam panninga, evlo pace. You should at least tell something to me, isn't it? And thank you so much. I would appreciate an answer for the question. Check this. Who will initiate the readiness? The facilitator. Sir feels the teacher or the facilitator. How about the students? You don't care? You don't want to let us know whether you're ready or not? The famous quote of Abdul Kalam goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Okay? So, if you are capable of checking your own readiness, you are welcome to check your readiness. But in a structured learning environment, you being somewhere between 18 to 20 years of stage, I feel teachers should take up the responsibility of becoming facilitators, helping the student find out how ready is he or she to take up self-directed learning. Motivate the students. Who will take the initiative to motivate the students? Who? Yes? Okay, students, who do you want? Who do you think can motivate you to become self-directed learners? Let's say there is a new feature in Instagram released in the next 10 minutes. Who do you think should motivate you to use that feature in Insta? Me? You? Self. Okay. So let's say that there is a new complete anatomy dissection software purchased in the Department of Anatomy. Who do you think should motivate you to explore the software? Yes? Yes, please. I'm asking the questions of the students. அதுக்கு மட்டும் நாங்க வந்து மோட்டிவேட் பண்ணணும் இல்ல? Okay, no worries. We are always there, but then it is never rigorous as to who should motivate the learner to pick up self-directed learning. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, making a learning contract. Let's assume that I am the facilitator and each one of you here is my student. And so I'll pick one student and I'm going to make a learning contract with a particular student. So apart from checking readiness and motivating him or her for the self-directed learning session, I first do a needs analysis. If you pick up a topic, if you pick up an area, we both are going to sit and decide what does he need to know in it. And then we set the goals for addressing the needs. Okay, he needs to read this particular chapter if he wants to understand this particular need of him. To address this particular need, he needs to read this chapter, he needs to practice this skill, he needs to meet this person and have a discussion. Then we choose the learning resources. So I suggest him a textbook and he says, ma'am, we have this app with us which has also a lot of material, can I try it? So we both discuss and arrive on what learning resources he or she can use. And then a learning strategy. He says, I'd like to listen to 2 or 3 video lectures. And then I say, like, it not only lecture, why don't you take a self-training module where at the end of lecture you can also answer questions and check whether you have learnt or not. So we have a discussion on what strategy he or she needs to use. And then, we decide on a reasonable deadline. Why don't you finish up this by this week and this by the next week and come and meet me so that we can have a discussion. And then I also ask the student, how would he want to be assessed? Do you want to have a viva at the end of learning the particular topic? Do you want to have an MCQ assessment? Do you want to sit and write a theory paper? Do you want to have an assessment at all? We have such discussions. And then, let's say this process gets over and then we meet up, let's say at the end of 2 weeks in this particular case, and we sit and evaluate not what he learnt. We do not evaluate not what he learnt. To evaluate what he learnt is this assessment method. No. We evaluate this whole process. We evaluate the self-directed learning process. I should ask him or her, my dear, do you think that your needs were correctly identified? Did I help you identify the needs correctly? Did you clearly express yourself? Were your needs correctly identified? Yes or no? Did we set reasonable goals? Did we choose the correct resources? No, ma'am, actually you had asked me to read from Guyton, but you know what? For my learning speed, Guyton is extremely difficult. I would like to choose a different book. Or the person said, the lecture that you suggested in YouTube was fantastic, ma'am. The pictures that were shown were beautiful. Learning strategy. Okay, so he says, the way the animations were used were really useful. Or he can say, such a large textbook was absolutely boring to me. And then he says, I didn't require 2 weeks. I finished it 1 week ago. Or he says, 2 weeks is very unreasonable. I need another 1 week to complete. And he says, ma'am, last time I chose MCQs, but I would like you to ask me few questions the next time so that, I can prepare myself on whether I have logically understood the topic or not. So basically, we didn't talk about the topic here at all. The student and I have discussed the learning contract that was made, and we make necessary changes, we give feedback to each other, we realign ourselves, and then we repeat the process for the same topic or for the next topic. Is that clear? So that is what we facilitators and learners do in self-directed learning. So coming back to this definition which I projected a while ago, all that I would highlight here is, when Malcolm Nolle put up this definition, I'm not sure he knew that CBME would introduce it in India. But in the Indian scenario, I'm sure initially you need to do it with the help of facilitators. Once you become better, you can start doing it without the help of facilitators. If you look at the CBME guidelines, the number of hours allocated for self-directed learning becomes lesser and lesser as the phase 3 approaches, because by then it is understood that the learner becomes capable of self-directed learning. So, students, teachers, I would like to ask you, are you willing to help your students? Yes? Okay. Students, are you willing to get help from your faculty? Yes. So here we go with a little bit of planning. One size doesn't fit all. Each learner is different from the other, and one learner itself is different in anatomy, in physiology, in learning communication, in learning histology. So please understand that one size doesn't fit all. It varies based on the family background, the economic background, the cultural background, the medium of education, the personal problems, the mental health issues, shift from hostel to home to hostel, feeling homesick. There are so many factors that influences the capability of self-directed learning in an individual. Also his learning style. I might be good at talking and you might be good at listening, and someone might be good at watching and learning. So visual, auditory, reading, kinesthetic, the learning styles are different. Motivational levels vary from student to student, and the perceived stress levels also vary from one person to another. So some amount of screening by the teacher and the student is good to assess where we stand, and put yourself in anywhere in this model given by the great medical educator Grow. Okay, it's beautiful that his name is Grow. And so he gives this staged self-directed learning model. I'm going to make it a little colorful. Okay, students, I need your attention here. I want you to position in any one of these levels. One is not lower than the other. One is not lower than the other. One is not better than the other. I want you to find out what kind of a learner you are. Are you a dependent learner? Are you an interested learner? Are you an involved learner? Are you a self-directed learner already? Okay? Just do it for yourself in your minds. And the teachers and the faculty who are present here, I'd like you to identify as any one of the roles here. We'll have to play all the roles. That is a different question. But what is your inherent strength? Are you an authority or expert? Are you a salesperson or a motivator? Meaning, can you motivate and sell the concept of learning to the student? Are you a facilitator? Are you a delegator? Now, look at this corner. The lightest of the yellow is a beautiful match. The slightly dark yellow is a near match. The orange is a mismatch, and the red is a severe mismatch. Okay? So red is now, I'll give an example. There is a dependent learner who always prefers a teacher who tells him exactly what you want to do. Let's say the topic is cardiac cycle. So I need to give him define cardiac cycle, list out the phases in cardiac cycle. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒவ்வொரு ஃபேஸோட டியூரேஷனை படிச்சுக்கோ, வால்யூம் அண்ட் ப்ரெஷர் சேஞ்சஸ் படிச்சுட்டு இந்த கிராஃப் உனக்கு நீ புரியலன்னா நீ என்கிட்ட எடுத்துட்டு வா, I'll teach you. So, and you need to do this in 2 days. You're meeting me day after tomorrow during lunchtime, 12:15. 15 minutes we are spending on it. If you're not going to come on time, I'm not going to do this for you. So this works well with a dependent learner. Whereas there is a self-directed learner. If I call him and tell this, if he's a polite child, he might nod his head and not come back at all. If he is a rebellious child, he might tell you that books don't suit me, ma'am. I don't think I can do it in 2 days. And you know what, I don't have this textbook. The pictures, they are not suitable to me. I had actually figured out a particular, resource material online, and I'd like to do it. Now, trust me, there are situations where students have stumped me with a kind of approach that they have taken on their own towards learning complicated concepts, and in fact given me ideas. Most importantly, they have given me the sense of acceptance that there are different kinds of learners in a single classroom, learners who are very, very different from me. So, that was just an example to show a mismatch between a self-directed learner and an expert. On the other hand, a very dependent learner, if you give him a research article in his hand, Come after 2 days, let's have a discussion on what you felt about reading this article. Student would not turn up, or student would come in utter panic to you, not knowing what to do, would fumble and would do worse than what he would do on a normal day. So identify your role as a learner, look for the right mentor, and on the faculty side, I would say you need to be playing different roles for different kinds of learners. Now, as you move on with your students, this is the ARCS model of motivation. The key to doing self-directed learning successfully is keeping the learner motivated. And the ARCS model, A stands for attention. Always get the curiosity of the student. I'm going to talk about something called the trigger, where capture the attention of the student, capture the curiosity, capitalize on the curiosity so that he or she is interested to go through this learning process with you. Move on to relevance. Why should I read this, ma'am? நான் எதுக்கு இந்த newspaper article படிக்கணும்? நான் எதுக்கு இந்த picture பார்த்து தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்? If you read this, your understanding on what I taught you last week would be enhanced. And that is a commonly asked essay question or a Viva question, and it will help you fetch more marks. Explain the relevance of why he or she should be learning a particular topic. Give them the confidence that it was difficult for you, but you learnt it, that it would be difficult to start with, or that it is easy to do it. Give them the right levels of confidence. Give them awards, like Pratibha ma'am was giving chocolates for you to volunteer and answer. Medals, awards, grades, positive feedback could give them a sense of satisfaction that they are going forward in the process. So, teachers, I request you to utilize the ARCS model here. If there is a dependent learner, tell him. If there is an interested learner, sell the concept. If there is an involved learner, just, move along with him, interact with him. If there is a self-directed learner, just delegate and step back. So play the right roles as a learner and as a teacher. If you are a dependent learner, and if you have an authority coach, gently express to them or step back or move away from such a kind of a mentor. Seek for a mentor who would delegate responsibilities to you. If you're a dependent learner and you have a delegator as your mentor, spell it out to your mentor that you would require point by point help initially and that you would slowly step up. So, this is just for the faculty and for the students. A little bit, what is a trigger? Any teaching learning strategy that spikes up the curiosity levels in a student and makes him sit up. இது என்னன்னு பார்க்கலாமே. To spike up the curiosity levels, you use a trigger. We use it through the entire self-directed learning session. Most often, you would see that in a class of myasthenia gravis, people start off with a picture of Amitabh Bachchan. Okay? Recently, it has been shifted to Samantha because she is suffering from autoimmune myositis. So, we put up something to spike up your curiosity. Or we give a catchy word. Autoimmunity. That is the word. And you need to plan your learning session based on that one word. Or I give you a paper case. You read up the scenario and you try to sit and solve it using your self-directed learning strategies. Or I would say, sitting is the new smoking. That is the phrase that I give you. Now you try, understand the phrase. Then you slowly figure out that I'm going to talk about sedentary lifestyle and the hazards of sedentary lifestyle. And you plan your self-directed learning session accordingly. This is for the teachers to play with and increase the curiosity levels and enhance the self-directed learning. So, to just quickly revise the process of making a learning contract, assess the learning needs, consolidate the needs into SMART objectives. S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for reliable, and T for time-bound objectives. Decide on what kind of a learning resource the learner is comfortable with. Textbooks, digital content, or a mix of both. Identify the learning strategy. Does he want to go to the library? Does he want to sit in his room? Does he want combined studies? Choose that. Discuss how you would want to assess him. How does the learner want to be assessed? Sometimes they are very, they feel very intimidated when you put them right in front of you and ask one question of another. Instead, give a pen and paper to them, and then they would come out with a beautiful understanding of the topic. Review the plan. Whatever plan that you made so far, review it, make changes before implementation. Go ahead and implement it, and then
get feedback, realign yourself, and keep repeating the process. So, to summarize, self-directed learning is a process. It is not a one-time event, it is a process. The topic that is taught is secondary because the core purpose of self-directed learning is learning how to learn. And as facilitators, we are going to make a learning contract with the student to help them think about their thinking and to help them learn how to learn. The teacher needs to match the stage of learner's development. It varies from learner to learner. You have to be responsive to the student's needs. You need to be flexible. For one person, you need to be a coach. For the other person, you need to be a delegator. Stay updated as faculty with innovative learning strategies. Students, feel free to share the learning resources that you have with your teachers. Show them what you are going to use. Do not keep us in the dark. While we believe that we are going to use the prescribed textbook, you come up with a set of answers taken from some other college, taken from the web, taken from, some app. Do not stump us. Discuss it with us so that we can help you identify if there are gross errors in that. And have a checklist to assess the self-directed learning process, not the content. That is secondary. A lot of mindset shift is required from the learner having chosen medicine. Stepping into phase 1 MBBS, listening to a lecture on self-directed learning, I consider you people gifted to know that there is a process that can be followed in order to acquire metacognitive skills and become a lifelong learner, but that requires tremendous attitude shift, of course, with the help of your facilitators. So, we now accept as teachers and as students the fact that learning is a lifelong process of keeping abreast of change. And the most pressing task is to teach people how to learn. So to the learner, I would like you to look at this quote. This is from my favorite book, The Boy, the Fox, the Mole and the Horse. It's a beautiful book which you may probably complete in about half an hour, but you would have to read it 1,000 times in your lifetime. One of the favorite cartoons in the book says, "What is the bravest thing you've ever said?" asked the boy. "Help," said the horse. So I want the learners to be brave, to take help from the facilitator, to ask for help. And I would like to present this quote to the facilitator. Change is never painful. Only resistance to change is painful. Knowing that we have been in the field of profession for 1 or 2 decades, and knowing that we are going to be there in it for another 1 or 2 decades, the only mindset shift that we need to have is that to be as less resistant to change as possible and to embrace change gracefully as the learners change. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So he was the person who I started the presentation with, Alvin Toffler, who put up his first book on the adult learning strategies, and I thought it was one of the most beautiful quotes to end my presentation. Thank you for your patient listening. It was a pleasure talking to you all people.
You have any questions to ask?
I was so confident that nobody would ask a question because that is the trend that is in the recent days. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, absolutely wonderful and informative presentation, I must say. Because I happened to take a class on SDL for the recent workshop for BCME. And as you said in your first slide, I was also researching on what this SDL was, because there's no clear information or direction from NMC as to how we should conduct an SDL session for students. But beautifully you have told us the points. Just a few things which I would like to share is some of the challenges of SDL. Especially, I think all of us should agree that assessment drives learning. But here in SDL, we don't have a structured assessment for SDL sessions. So that is going to be a problem, right?
True. One assessment, because if you don't, as ma'am says, we all have comfortably concretely agreed that assessment drives learning. But assessment drove me mad while I was learning. I must be, one of the reasons that I took physiology was that I did not want to take up another entrance exam in my life. I was done with entrance exams. I was done with people asking me questions. And, but then you are right, ma'am, considering the larger group of people who would come and sit in a class only if there is a test, only if the attendance is marked, only if the assessment is taken into consideration for the internal assessment. Yes. So that is when the last step in making a learning contract comes in, especially, thank you for asking this question because I'd like to answer two aspects to it. One is, yes, a concrete assessment of the content happens between the learner and the facilitator. For example, I heard that in Ramchandra, they conduct all of this session. We are also pressurized to conduct these sessions as a large group. So what happens is when 25 students sit with you, will you be able to make detailed learning contracts on a one-on-one basis? I'm not sure. But what they do is at the end of the self-directed learning hour that is allocated for this, they request the students to come up with a PowerPoint presentation with the most important learning points that have happened during that particular session. And a group of students come together to do it.
Okay.
So remember I started off the session asking, is it problem-based learning, is it case-based learning or team-based learning? Self-directed learning is not that. But one of the ways to do self-directed learning could be problem-based learning, team-based learning or case-based learning. And yes, having a little bit of an assessment towards the end. But the risk is that there are going to be few learners who wouldn't be comfortable with the assessment strategy. So a mixed method trial throughout the year could help everybody benefit from it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Yeah. Any other questions, students? Okay.
I request the panel discussion students to come for the prize. Speakers, thank you for the time, effort you put into this session. We found this discussion about self-directed learning is more insightful and valuable. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. So I request the guest speakers to distribute the prize. So they are going to pick up a lot.
We have a set of pharmacology and pathology books. Now they will get what they have got.
Master me, I will master your prescription.
So you get pharmacology. Thank you very much for being a part of the panel. What is that?
Smaller version of Robbins. I can guide you with histology slides, but I'm abnormal.
Book of capsules, tablets and injections.
So I request our dear Muthukumar sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
Okay. Good noon, all of you. First of all, I thank the Almighty and my parents for making me stand in front of you. As we come to the conclusion of this insightful and enriching CME, it's my honor to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee. First and foremost, we thank profusely and extend our deepest gratitude to our founder Chancellor, Mr. A.C. Shanmugam sir, for his unconditional and unwavering support. I thank Mr. A.C.S. Arun Kumar sir, President of our university, for his continuous and constant support and encouragement, not only in the conduct of the CME, but in all our endeavors. We thank our VC ma'am and Dean sir, both of them, for their intelligent guidance and motivation. Okay. I thank this opportunity to thank Mr. Manivanan sir, who is a joint registrar and truly a great administrator, for all the logistic support he has provided to us, and we remain grateful for that. A heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speakers and panelists for sharing our expertise and knowledge. Your presentations and discussions have been incredibly informative and engaging, offering us new perspectives and ideas. A special thanks to our participants and attendees for your active engagement and enthusiasm, especially our senior professor, Dr. Ramesh Kumar sir. Can you give him a big hand? Dr. Sundar Bondian sir, good noon sir. Dr. Durga, hi. Your presence and contributions have enriched the discussions and made this event a collaborative success. Thank you for being with us. An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling months in advance. Our dedicated team, organizing committee, let me name first Dr. T. Vasant Kumar sir, Professor and Head. Dr. W.M.S. Johnson sir. Dr. Shruti ma'am. Okay. Dr. Ramurthy sir. Dr. Vajanti ma'am. And Master of Ceremony, Dr. Ashri. And our department colleagues, Ms. Kalayvani and Karnamurthy sir and Dhanshekar, all for the kind help. And our student volunteers, Mr. Amrut, Mr. Sam, Mr. Harsh, Mr. Harish, Mr. Sanjay Gant, Mr. Tanish, Mr. Vinith, Ms. Monica, Ms. Akshita, Ms. Vidya, and Ms. Chelly. Thank you all for your tireless efforts and meticulous planning. Your hard work being behind the scenes has ensured the smooth execution of the CME. We also extend our appreciation to Mr. Ashwin for stage arrangements and Mr. Sarath Koitong for audio visual arrangements, our photographer Babu. Thank you, Babu. Your generous support has been instrumental in making this event possible and successful. I would like to thank the venue staff for the excellent service and hospitality. Your efforts have made everyone feel comfortable and welcomed. Last page. To the technical support team, thank you for ensuring that all our sessions ran seamlessly. Your expertise and dedication are greatly appreciated. And finally, let me conclude. Thank you all once again for your invaluable contribution and participation. You have made the CME a memorable and impactful experience. Have a great evening and safe travel. Thank you.